Hello, everybody. How are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I hope all of you are being able to listen to me. So, today is January 26th, and in 2 days, the 28th, will be the full moon of this month, which is in Leo, and this moon represents like a very heavy tension, which is the worst tension in the whole year of 2021. So will be the 28th will be the full moon in Leo, and that would be like a very heavy tension in the sky for the whole year. Because of this, I posted in my Instagram in justsoy.red. I posted there a video in Spanish, and soon will be a video in English explaining the idea of what is. It's not me; it's Mercedes Arnús who is explaining this from the astrology point of view. What this information means, what that day means, so we know how to handle it when we arrive to that day. Okay. So it's a very heavy day. So I recommend you to take benefit of it. And I already did it because, of course, I am a Virginian student. So I did it before, and as a great Leo example, I did it in front of 4,000 people live streaming a few days ago as I was crying all my Leo shit from within with all of you. So so with a public of thousands of people. So that's the way a Leo does catharsis. so so I would recommend you to see these videos in the Instagram, so you know how to handle this energy. So once said this, we go to the topic for today related to the Sacrum chakra in the Capricorn physical week, which is the topic of culture. Today I wrote a lot about what culture is. So as always, I recommend you to go to the blog, to read the blog, and to see a little bit more of what culture means. So let's go into the topic of culture, because for us today, a culture is something that we usually relate with the conjunction of history, traditions, knowledge, and art of a group of people in a certain place in a certain time. But that way of seeing what is a culture is really new, okay? Because it's been like from the 20th century that we call culture to that conjunction of attributes of one group of people. But before that, what it really meant, it was how the people used to live the cycles of time. That's what really meant culture, how people lived the cycles of time. So that's what we are going to explain. Culture, from where the concept of culture comes, because sometimes we used to describe the person that has a lot of culture as someone that is cultivated, like we describe the cultives in the fields. Okay, so the relationship that we used to do is that a person is cultivates a lot of knowledge within, so it has a lot of fruits within. That's what it would mean. Okay, So it represents the it represents a person that is growing a lot of information inside, that harvest a lot of knowledge from the outside. So that's what the concept of cultivated person means. But the word cultivated, the word cultive, cultural, culture, comes exactly from that, from the harvest in the fields. Mm? So so that's what it really means. The It comes from the agriculture, from the people that is cultivating. That's why we call it agriculture. Mm? But the word culture comes from the concept of seeding, sowing, sorry, growing, and harvesting. This process, this entire process, is something that describes the cycles of the fields, the cycles of the seasons. So the seasons will change, telling us what we have to sow or harvest in that month. Hmm? So that's why the concept of cultural comes from the Indo-European language that we call the quel. Quel. Quel means to move to another home. Okay, to move on. So that's the word cool. Quel. So quel is to move from one house to another, to inhabit in a new house. And this relationship that we have with the word is because the people in the fields needed to harvest or needed to sow according to where the stars are. So we started to call the different stars like houses. So there's the house of Leo, the house of Virgo, the house of of Libra. So we have all these different houses. So according to the house we are moving in each part of the year, we know what we have to do in the fields. Hmm? So that's why the cultivate to make the cultivation I don't know how to say it, the to sow the plants, to grow the plants, to harvest the plants, all of that was related to the moving on of the astrological chart, astrological houses in the sky, and that created the concept of the cycles. So that's why cult is related to the cycles that repeat themselves in order to have food. Hmm? So, as you see, and as we have been speaking all this time, everything that we do is related with food because we are animals and we need to eat. So, because we need to eat, everything that we started to create is related with food. Remember that we were creating that our civilizations as sedentary people because we understood how to harvest, how to sow. Okay, so because of this, we started to understand the skies. We started to understand the cycles of the sowing and harvesting and so on. Hmm? And we started to have specific dates where we could know exactly when was the moment to sow, when was the moment to harvest, and so on. Okay, so because of this we created celebrations. These celebrations had these ceremonies. Remember the word ceremony, which is harvest. Okay, it comes from the agriculture god. So the ceremony, and by the ceremonies we create traditions because this repeats every season in every year. So this started to repeat, and this is how we started to create the cultures. So all the cultures of the world are related to what we eat, to the agriculture. Hmm? So the word cult that we also use to come from the same origin. And why is this? Because remember, the people in the past used to say, in order to have food, in order to have things for us, we need to ask help to the gods. So a lot of people started to have this opportunity of not only surviving by the food, but they started to think and to feel. So they started to cultivate their souls. And when they started to think about cultivating their souls, they said, so we have to honor the invisible ones that allows for everything to exist. They allowed to the matter to exist. So they started to honor them. And now remember that cult is not related with, and cultivate culture is not related with, to honor divinities, or um, to to cultivate the plants. The word cult comes from coming from one home to another, changing houses. That's the origin of the word. So that's why when we have to sow, we have to honor the goddess of sowing. When we have to grow, we have to honor the divinity of growing. When we have to harvest, we have to honor the divinity of harvesting. So that's why, remember, celebration, which is to honor the agriculture. That's the origin of the word celebration. Ceremony. So that's why the origin of the word is a cycle that repeats, going from one home to another. So this is why when you honor the god that allows the sowing in the fields, you relate cultive with cult, because both of them are the same. Both of them are telling you we are moving on from one house to another. Okay? Cycles of time in the year. Easy to understand, I guess. So it's important to understand this relationship of how this starts to be created. That in the ancient times, the gods and the goddesses were not divine things that were away in the in the magical king realm and so on. No, they were aligned to the natural world, because they were connected to the idea of the nature. So every one of the gods was just an attribute of the cycles of the nature. This is how the gods had this human emotions, and they were living like human stories with different attributes, with different tools and so on, because each one of the gods were a conceptual representation of what was happening in their cycle, okay, of Earth. That's why the life of Earth and the life of the gods were so similar, because they are almost the same. Okay, so because of this is that the cultivation and the cult is exactly related, is perfectly related. And in the middle, we created the ceremony. Okay, the ceremony is to celebrate the cultivation. Okay, the cultives. And because of this relationship is how we created the cultures, through the ceremonies. Okay, perfect. Once the people got to manage the food, this means that people were able to survive, and they were not fighting for food all the time, and they created a system called civilization to ensure the continuity of eating, basically. So people started to be relaxed, and they were able to think instead of just working hard in order to get food. So this allowed the moment of relaxation. Remember, skole is the moment of enjoying just relaxing and thinking, because you don't have to fight for survival. So because of civilization, here comes these people that starts to think the world in a different way, because they don't have to fight for life. And they start to see that maybe the gods are not the ones that are allowing us to survive. Maybe it's just the way in which we humans have been able to design ways to manifest, to create. Hmm? Because of this, is that these people started to look for different ways to cultivate their souls, not following the gods, but following the knowledge that was within. And that's what we call to cultivate the soul, to cultivate the spirit. These people used the idea of the cultives, the fields of the farmers, but for their souls, and they were the philosophers. So the philosophers were these people that had all this time to think about, because they don't have to take care of food. And they understood that their bodies were the terrain, the fields. Their soul was the water to be poured on the body, and the spirit was the seed that must grow in ourselves. So from this philosophical point of view, let's try to understand how this works. The spirit is a seed. Inside the seed, there is all the information. It's like every seed has the potential of becoming a tree, but it doesn't become a tree unless it has the help of the emotion of the water. With the water, the seed awakens its potential, expanding itself through the emotion. That allows the seed to germinate. So this expansion of the seed is not enough, because in order for the seed to become a tree, when it expands emotionally, it needs to take roots to absorb the minerals able to create the plant. So the minerals like phosphorus, nitrogen, um, calcium, silicium, iron, all of this is in earth. All this information is on earth. So the water helps the seed to expand, and by this expansion it goes down to look for these minerals in the body. And that's how the tree can exist. The tree can expand and create flowers and fruits. So it's impossible for the spirit, even if it has the whole potential of the whole tree, to live what is possible for it unless it doesn't live the emotion of the soul and the structure of the body. It's because of the soul and the body that the spirit can expand its potential and become a tree. Following this idea, remember that you are three things. You are a body, a soul, and a spirit. So this means that you have a terrain, you have a land, which is the body. Within you, you have the water, and within the water, you have the seed. So that seed has the potential of the whole tree that you might become. But to do the tree, to make the tree, you need to balance the water, because a huge amount of water can kill the seed. But when you just balance the water, You help the seed to grow, to expand, to take roots. And where are going those roots in order to grow? It cannot go just flying around as the spiritual beings in the middle of nowhere. In order for the tree of life, of who I am, to exist, we need to take roots on the ground, and that ground is the body. So we need a firm land. We need to take care of our bodies in order to manifest what we are. So now what? There has been some people that allows the seed to expand. So those people that got to expand the seed, create the tree, so gave fruits, and were able to what? To awake its technology, as we spoke yesterday. The technology is this beauty, this art that comes from the spirit, able to be manifested and shared with others outside. So, for example, when these people expand the tree and gives the fruit, share the fruit, it starts to create a culture because it's cultivating. So, for example, what we are doing here every day is creating a culture. Why? Because it's a cycle that repeats once again, in which I am sharing some of my fruits that we then share with everyone. And for sure, everyone that is here, sometimes you don't even have to think about sitting at 2020 at 8 p.m. to see this. It gets normalized. You get to know what is coming in the next day. So that's creating a culture, a tradition. So by this concept constantly, once and again, this tree gives the fruits, but then it creates also seeds, and these seeds grows again as new trees, and these trees gives new fruits and creates more trees. So suddenly starts to repeat so much that the first tree is not even remembered, because nobody knows what was the first tree. Suddenly all of them became the tree. And that's why a culture is alive. So a culture, a live culture, is born in the moment when the rest of the people is not eating just from one tree, but each one of them have become a tree by itself. So they interact in between one another, sharing the fruits. So what happened here? When this culture starts to grow and expand, and suddenly it takes the terrain of many others, these trees that only absorb one of those elements or minerals start to kill the land, because there are a lot of other elements in nature that they are not being absorbed, so they start to kill the terrain. And because of this, when there is a culture that eats other cultures, making them by force to become like them, that starts to kill the terrain, and eventually it will kill the same culture. So when we have a monocultive, which is only one cultive, what happens is that they are using so much the same terrain that it absorbs all the nutrients of that terrain, and there is no cycles. So that starts to kill the land. And when it's only one, so it starts to create a desert. The same thing happened with when one only culture tries to put over the other ones and kill the other ones. When that happens, that culture is not only killing the other cultures, but it's killing itself eventually. This is because when you have a flat terrain, there's no possibility to make anything grow, because when it comes a lot of water, it just pours around and goes away. And when it comes the wind, the seeds just fly away with the minerals. So it's impossible to make something to grow. So that's why you need a terrain that is curved. So in that curvatures, the water can pour, the seeds can be in between the the cracks, the minerals can stay there. So that's how this terrain starts to be able to create a lot of life. So this means that a terrain must be flexible. There's a boat with music passing by. Okay, so diversity. So a land that is corrugated, a land that is like this, uh, helps many other plants to grow, to allows the land to be more rich. So that's why many cultures, many as many cultures we have, is like having a lot of plants. So there is diversity, and as many cultures we have in this world, the best for the earth. So remember that the goal of all of the goal of all of this is for the spirit to awaken its potential, to find what is capable of. So if we are all trying to do exactly the same thing, we are losing the opportunity to allow many options to exist. Um, so this is why we need a world with a lot of cultures. So the key for today is basically to recognize that we should not be this only culture, only way of thinking, like being all spiritual, all aware, and that's the goal. No, the goal is diversity. As much diversity we have in our planet, the best we will get to understand the potentiality of the spirit. So that's why this is an invitation to be open, like the terrain, with many different flexibilities, in order to accept diversity, to assimilate many other ways of understanding ourselves. So let's nourish ourselves from the cultures that the spirit has created. Let's go to the information for today. The vibration for today is view. The statement for today is, I am the essence of the mother matrix. The code for today is nitrogen. The 78% of the atmospheric gas is composed of this basic element. It's one of the most important bases for life. In Greek, it means generator of salts, and has the very important function of nourishing the elemental world of vegetables. The high consumption of this chemical makes plants grow faster and big, which at the same time helps the development of all beings that live from plants and that can't naturally process nitrogen from the environment. So it's related to what we have been speaking. So let's go to the alignment. Sit comfortable. Close your eyes. Pay attention to your breathing as you start to make a soft massage to all your body. I become aware of all my body by paying attention to my feet, my legs, hands and arms, my chest, back, and waist, neck, and head, realizing that my entire body is a seed on earth. I recognize that this seed that I am has within the potential of the whole world, the entire planet, the tree of life, is encoded in the spirit and the will of become the creator, the mother, the matrix. And I remember that within me lives the whole world. The minerals and emotions. I recognize that within my body I can feel the oceans, the seas, the rivers, all of them in my blood, in my veins. I can feel within me the waves of the Indian Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Pacific Ocean surrounding my body from within. And towards my feet in the south, I feel the Antarctic Ocean. As above, in my head, the Arctic Ocean. I can feel the Atlantic Ocean moving from north to south in front of my body. I can feel the Pacific Ocean moving behind in my back from north to south, and the Indian Ocean expressed in both sides of my kidneys. I can feel Europe and the height of my heart, from the neck to the chest. Africa below, by the chest to the stomach and the genitals. And the other side, North America, starts in my head, in my throat, coming down to South America, ending in my feet. On the back, I feel the entire continent of Asia, and below, surrounding my hip and waist, Oceania. As below of my body, I feel the Antarctic, and in my nose, the fresh air of Greenland. Take a deep breath. And now I can feel every culture in this body. I can perceive every religion, every race, ethnia, ethnicities, every tradition, philosophy. All of them as the attributes of this seed of the world that I am. Everyone connected to the great mother tree. And through my singing, I activate the potential of my own culture, of the earth that I am. I am the essence of the mother matrix. I am the essence of the mother matrix. I am the essence of the mother matrix. I am the seed of the great world, the great tree. I am the cultive of my spirit. Take a deep breath, and I recognize Every culture lives within me. So to awaken the potential that lives in me, I have to open myself to all the cultures of the world. I am culture. Take a deep breath and start to expand this consciousness throughout all the body by caressing, stretching, and yawning. Coming back here and now, each one at its own time. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And as always, see you tomorrow at the same time.